are the Asur, an enigma to men and dwarfs who know them as High Elves.
Hello and welcome everybody to CiusP. This is Cypher, and today we're gonna be talking about the High Elves. So, same concept that we did in the previous video, breaking down the Wood Elf. In this video we're gonna be talking about the High Elf. We're gonna be providing with all the information that you need about this race. So if you already own all of the factions, you'll know, for example, how to make the most use of their economy or to build the best army that you want. And if you do not own all of the factions, hopefully this video will give you a glimpse about each faction and will help you to decide whether you really want to get this faction or no. Now, for sure, we're going to be starting with the starting location and the faction effects. We're going to be showing you the special mechanic of each faction, if any is applicable, and their special units, lords, or heroes that you might get if you own a specific DLC, for example. We're going to be talking about their economy and how to make the most use of it, and we're going to be showing you their armies, basically how to make a doom stack in the campaign. And lastly, I would like to provide you with my opinion about which faction is the easiest for beginners to start with, which faction is, for example, the most fun to play, and lastly I would like to provide you with the most powerful faction of all in between the different factions that you can play for this race. Now, just to begin with a small overview. Now, those are all of the 6 playable factions for the High Elven race. They are as follow from the first released the last released, top to bottom. We have Eataine, led by Eataine, the Order of Loremasters, led by Teclis, Nagarythe, led by Alethanar, Avelorn, led by Lady Alariel, the Knights of Caledor, led by Imric, and lastly we have Yvresse, led by Eltharion. Now, to classify these factions, the first 2 are base game factions. So once you own Total War Warhammer 2, you're going to be able to play these factions. The middle 2, they are free, however they are not unlocked directly. You need to go to the selection in your Steam, the library for the game, and unlock them the same way as you pay for a DLC. However, they are completely free, so you just need to add them to your library and you're going to be able to choose them and play them on the campaign map. And lastly, we have the paid DLC, the last 2 on the right. So let's jump now to the selection menu and show you all of those factions and their faction effects. Now, here we are in the selection menu. As you can see, those are all of 6 different lords that you can select. We're going to be starting with Eataine, which is the easiest faction to begin with and the most user-friendly for beginners. This for the simple reason that you're going to get plus 20 relation with all of the High Elven factions. Now, those are not bad, and even those are not bad. I'm not gonna read through all of them, just to try to make the video as short as possible. Now let's jump in and show you their starting location. Now, this is Eataine starting location on the Vortex campaign, and now we're gonna be showing you their starting location on the Mortal Empire. Now, this is our starting location on the Mortal Empire map. As you can see, we are surrounded by the same enemy and we start on the same settlement, or in the same settlement. Now, why am I telling you that this faction is the easiest? It's because you have this ruler's tolerance to Eataine, so you can build your relation with the surrounding High Elves much easier and basically start doing trade to boost your economy. To get more influence, you need to use this guy, so you send him to do hero's action against anyone, for example, and he's gonna improve your influence. If you want to fight this faction, you can send him against it, but you can also send him somewhere else, for example in the east or in the west, to avoid trouble with the surrounding, because you do not really want to fight the High Elf. I'd rather be having them allies and yeah, fight somewhere else. More ways to have influence is by building the Elven embassies. They'll provide you +2 per turn, and they will also provide boost to your trade and boost to the income from ports. So whenever you have a province that has 2 ports or more, try to build more of those embassies. And even if you have 1 special port, you need to build those embassies because special ports provide you with more income. So yeah, that's basically it for the Eataine. Now let's jump to the following faction. The second faction here is the Order of Loremaster led by Teclis. Again, this faction isn't terrible, but they are not as easy as the Tyrians faction because their starting location isn't that good. Now those are their faction special. And now let's jump to their starting location. Now here we are with the starting location on the Vortex map. As you can see, we are surrounded by lizardmen, and they are your enemy in this campaign. I don't like how the Vortex campaign works, but the Vortex map, however, is really awesome. I really hope to see the entire map implemented in the Total War Warhammer 3. Now let's jump to see the starting location on the Moral Empire. Now here we are on the Moral Empire map. As you can see, we have a 2 settlement province. We are surrounded by Skaven, and the other enemy that we might encounter is the Dark Elf in the south, and these guys, the pirates of the Vampire Coast in the north. I don't think that it will be really difficult to deal with the situation there, but I prefer the Vortex map much more than the Moral Empire, especially for this faction. The map here looks really condensed, and it's really not that fun. The only thing is you don't have to deal with the Vortex ritual, so that's why I prefer the Moral Empire. Anyways, let's continue the journey and go to the following faction. Here we have Nagarythe, one of the FLCs that you can get. This faction has the following effects. Now, this faction has a really unique mechanic for the High Elves. You're gonna enjoy it a lot, and it makes them super powerful on the campaign map. They are still not the most powerful, but it's really an overpowered, I would say, when it comes to battle, and you will know why. Let's jump in now and show you their starting location. Now here we are on the Vortex map. As you can see, we start in the Black Creek Spite, and we have the Broken Land as our first province. Now let's go to the Moral Empire. Now here we are on the Moral Empire map. As you can see, we are in a different location. On the Vortex we spawned here. On the Moral Empire we spawned there, close to the Cult of Pleasure. So I believe the starting location on the Moral Empire is a bit tougher for this faction because we're going to be dealing with a major faction instead of a minor one. That being said, let me just show you a couple things that are special about this faction. The first thing, as you can see here, we have a hunting mission or assassination missions. You'll be given about 20 turns each time to finish all 3. Now you can either go by yourself and finish off the Lord, then you'll get all of the bonuses you'll see. Sometimes, however, the Lord will be far away, and it'll be better in this case to send an assassin. Now, to recruit this assassin, you need first to capture a province. You need to assign this commandment, the River Patrol. Then you simply need to do this invocation over there, and the assassin will spawn beside your lord. Now, this is the first thing which is exclusive for this faction. The other thing is this special building over there. You can build it at tier 2, and it will allow you to recruit 2 units. The first one, it's common for all other races or all other factions for the High Elves. It's the same unit that you can recruit from here. However, you can recruit at tier 2. The other thing is the Shadow Walkers, which is special for this faction. So even if you confederate this faction and you're playing a different one, you will not be able to recruit this one. Now this is the best unit to recruit when playing this faction for range if you do not have these guys. If you do have them, then no, you only want to recruit the Shadow Walkers on this guy's army because he gives them some bonuses. That being said, those are the only two special things about this faction. Now let's continue our showcase and show you the other faction. We have the Knights of Caledor led by Yvresse. Faction has the following effects. So the emphasis on dragons, as you can see, and this is the most, well, the hardest faction to start with, playing as High Elves. Now they are not as hard as before after the nerf of the Skaven, but still they are harder than the rest of the High Elven factions. That being said, let's jump in and show you their starting location. Here we are with the starting location on the Eye of the Vortex map for Yvresse's faction. As you can see, we start in the middle of the desert, and this is one of the things that makes this faction really hard, and maybe the hardest between all of the other Elven factions. You cannot start with trade, and this is a handicap for this faction. Now let's go on and show you where they start on the Moral Empire. And there you go, the worst starting location for a High Elven faction. As you can see, we are on the Total Empire map. We are at the very right corner of the map. We are unable to start trade with anybody, and this is one of the main sources of income for High Elves, especially in the early campaign. You need to trade. You get a ton of cash from trading. You are denied that with this faction, so that's why it's maybe the hardest faction to start with. Other than that, you are encircled with enemies, and dwarves are not an easy enemy to deal with, especially when you're playing on hard difficulty. Now this faction is not really terrible, but who knows what could happen in the game. Now let's just talk about special stuff for this faction. Not that many, only one thing, which is this. As you can see, we have a counter here, and it's 10, so in 10 turns we're gonna have a dragon encounter, and it will be as follows. As you can see, we managed to have the encounter with the dragon, and what happened is as follows. So you'll be given 4 choices, which is leave it be will give you this option, so you'll be able to encounter the dragon later on. You can challenge the dragon, and this will allow you to recruit the dragon. You can bargain with the dragon, so let's say you give him money, for example. It will give you some other stuff, and yeah, you choose in between them. It depends really on the campaign. You might want to save money, you might want to recruit the dragon, so you can decide. For me, I'm gonna just challenge the dragon to be able to recruit it for the sake of the video, so we're gonna be seeing you afterwards. Now once you win the battle, you're gonna be able to recruit the dragon, and you'll get some items. For instance, I got this item from the dragon, and Yvresse got this ability as well. So every dragon will give you some stuff. Other than that, you will be able to recruit the dragon, as you were saying. So just recruit him from the Regiment of Renown. It's gonna be there, recruit, and it's gonna be fairly like 0. You're not gonna pay anything, and even if you lost him, you don't need to fight him back. You're gonna be able to recruit him later on, and just need to spawn back. Now I'd like to show you all the different dragons that you can recruit. And here we are with all the dragons that you can recruit. As you can see, we have 5 different dragons. Now I know I am not on Imric's faction. I have them. Well, I got them while I was playing this playthrough. And as you can see, we have a black dragon, a forest dragon, a moon dragon, a star dragon, and a what's this guy? A sun dragon. Now, for sure, we cannot recruit these guys, but I recruited the others just to show you the difference in stat. So let's start with the sun dragon. His stats are over there, and the champion one. As you can see, all stats are better, even the armor and stuff. The moon dragon, same, all stats are better. Even we have a better melee attack, frostbite. I like frostbite more. And lastly, we have the star dragon, which not only has better stats but also has a bonus versus large. Not to mention we have the same upkeep. So yeah, bonus versus large plus 20. So this is it for this faction. Now let's start with the paid DLC faction and show you all the goodies over there. Here we have the latest DLC for the High Elves, Yvresse, led by Eltharion. Faction effects are as follow. You have a terrible relation with the Greenskin because he vows to finish them off and wipe them off the world map. Now, this faction is the most fun to play, and also I'll show you why later in the video. But for now, let's go and check on their starting location. And here we are with the starting location of Yvresse faction on the Vortex map. As you can see, we are in Ult 1. We have no other place to go. And here we are with the starting location for Yvresse faction on the Vortex map. We start in Ult 1 and only Ult 1. We don't have another base as you do with the Immortal Empire. So you are surrounded with allies. You can start with trade. You can do some stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff. But before doing the trade, for sure, you need to take over this place. And the orc enemies are not really that strong. And as you can see, you do not need to bother yourself with the Vortex rituals. So this is one of the reasons that makes this faction much fun than the rest of the High Elven faction. You do not need to bother with the ritual of the Vortex, even on the Vortex map, which I like more than the Moral Empire map again. So I really hope that it gets implemented as a whole in the third installment. And that being said, let's go and show you their starting location, which is tougher on the Moral Empire. And here you go with the starting location on the Moral Empire map. As you can see, we start with 2 different provinces. Have one in Ult 1 and another one over there, so they are kind of harder than the rest of the High Elves, excluding Imric's faction. So because you need to deal with 2 battlefronts. It's not really that hard once you know what you're doing, but it's not as easy as the rest of the High Elves. Now that being said, let's jump in and show you all about the Yvresse faction, and also show you all the different units that you will unlock once you get this DLC. So once you get the Warden and the Punch DLC, you're gonna be able to play as the most fun faction for the High Elf Yvresse. It's not the most powerful though. We're gonna talk about the most powerful later on. It's the most fun. This faction has a ton of stuff that will add to the entire race and some faction specific stuff. Let's start with the faction with the race added stuff. So they are units for sure. You're gonna be having the Ranger, They are really good against infantry units, and it's an early game unit. You're gonna be having the Silvering Guard. Those are basically spearmen on steroid. They are much better in every aspect. You're gonna get the War Lions of Charis. They are super strong against infantry. You're gonna get the Lion Chariots of Charis. Now, I am not that guy that really love the chariots, but I heard that they are good. I never tried them, so I cannot really confirm whether they are good or no. And lastly, we have one of the most powerful units in the High Elven roster, the Arcane Phoenix. Now, this guy is super strong. Not only he has really good stats, his attack, which is this one, it's some kind of vortex attack. It deals a ton of damage to infantry units, and he also have this, which basically chance of reincarnation. This guy is super effective, super strong. You can even create a doom stack from him. I love to make a doom stack playing him as techless. I'm not sure if I have techless in this campaign though, so I cannot really confirm. Yeah, it looks like I do not have techless. But yeah, if you recruit techless and give him a doom stack of these guys, it will be a really awesome thing. Now for the faction specific units, again, they are for this faction and only for this faction. We have the Spire Guard of Tor Yvresse. These guys are really powerful. They have a ton of ammunition and they are unbreakable, so if you want you can add a couple of them in the front rows. They will hold the line pretty well, and you're gonna be able to deal damage with the rest of the army. You're gonna have the Athel Tamara Faith Bearers, kind of better spearmen's. Maybe you will recruit them, maybe not, I'm not sure, but the unit that I'm definitely sure that you're gonna be recruiting is the Sentinel of Astarel. They have huge range, maybe second highest range after the Way Watchers, and they have a powerful range attack that decreases the parry, so they are super strong. And look how much armor piercing you have on them, 22. They are super effective in melee as well, so you can even have a full army of them. These guys are not that bad, but I don't remember that I recruited them to begin with. And finally, you have the Knights of Torgaval. They are super strong in melee. You have 4 units in a squad, and each one will deal 300, so they are powerful. They are a mad powerhouse. And just before jumping to the faction mechanic, let's show you some fun army combinations that you can have only if you are playing this faction. I have plenty of them, and this makes this faction enjoyable to an extreme level because you can make so many different army combinations. For instance, I got this guy, he got these units, but I added some Sentinels, I added some Torgaval Knights, I have Elfarian. As you can see, I have all of the Sentinels there. Maybe I even want more Sentinels, these guys, just to make it more fun. We have these guys plus the sisters over there. Like, you will get so many cool stuff to play with if you own this DLC. So let's say you do not want to stick with the regular Doom stack, you can create so many army combination. It's a really fun addition to the High Elves. Now for the faction specific or the faction mechanic that you will get. As you can see here, we have Athel Tamara. So once you upgrade it, you're gonna get bonuses for Mistwalkers, capacity increase, bonuses again, influence, and whatever that is, So this is basically plus 200 experience for lords that are in charge of armies. But what is more important is Once you win a battle, you will be able to capture an enemy lord and keep them here forever. So let's say you are fighting a faction and Eataine, for example, is bothering you a lot. Win a battle, capture him, keep him in the cell for the rest of the campaign. He's not gonna be able to do anything afterwards. And moreover, as you can see here, we have the +5 Ladriel Blessing. Those stack up and they will give you these bonuses. So the more you have, the more bonuses you're gonna get. As you can see, once you reach 100, you're gonna get all of that. And yeah, before I forget, not only units, but once you own this DLC, you're gonna be able to recruit those archmages, all of these guys, or gulls. This adds a ton of stuff to the faction. But if you want to own only one, let's say you don't want to pay a lot of money for DLCs, I know this DLC adds a lot, but it is not the best for this faction. The best is in fact the one that we're gonna be talking about now.
Light of the Asa.
Here we have the most powerful faction for the High Elves, the Avelorn faction. Those are their traits. As you can see, they have plenty. They have some weaknesses, so they are not an easy faction to master, but they are the most powerful. And I'll show you later on in the video why they are the most powerful. But now let's jump in and just show you their starting location. Now here we are on the beautiful Vortex map. As you can see, we are surrounded by elves. This is super awesome, much cooler Ulth one than the one we have on the Mortal Empire for sure. And we are surrounded by those enemies. You just simply need to kick them butts and take over. Now let's go and show you the starting location on the Mortal Empire. So here we are on the Mortal Empire map. As you can see, we start in the same place, Gainvale. We have the same enemy around. Yeah, and just before giving you more details about this faction, you will notice that Defender of Ulth 1 is a special thing for this faction. We have so many negatives here because we do not own the entire continent, and it's not necessarily need to be us, just need to be High Elves, because Dark Elf here have about how much, third of it, maybe quarter of it, not sure. We have so many negatives. And another thing is, whenever Lady Alariel visits a settlement, is gonna provide her with this, or it's gonna provide the settlement with this shiny stuff, so more public order will be given just for her magnificent presence in the settlement for a couple more turns. Now let's give you more details about what you'll get from this DLC, units, all different stuff. Let's jump in. Now let's talk about the most powerful faction for the High Elven race, the Avelorn faction. To get this faction, you need to buy the Queen and the Crown DLC. This will give you those units for the entire race. They are the Shadow Warrior. I know it's not really that valuable, but you will also get the Sisters of Avelorn. This unit is the most valuable unit for this faction. You can get it fairly easy, really early in the campaign, and it provides the most firepower that you can get in the High Elves roster. This is really important to get. So if you want to decide whether you want to buy one DLC or the other, get this one. Then if you want to add, get the Grom and the Punch DLC. This one is much better. Not only it's gonna provide you with the most valuable unit for this faction, it's gonna also provide you with the Handmaiden. They are super important for a simple reason. Handmaiden, they will heal your army. So as you can see here, they will provide health for the army. So instead of wasting your noble in an army to heal, you're gonna be able to send your noble all over the place, and you're gonna be able to do some actions to increase your influence while sending the ladies in the army to provide the healing part of for the army. Moreover, this faction will have this special tree here thing, so you can recruit some tree men. And as you can see here, my army over there, I have 3 tree men, some siege units, the rest are the sisters, and this army is extremely powerful. You can add the sorceress for sure, but of life if you want. This will allow you to heal the tree men while also doing some spells, but Lady Alaria, I believe she has the healing. No, she does not. So yeah, you might want to get... Oh no, she does. Earthblood. But still, I'm not using a healer, a spellcaster. I'm good with that. She's doing well. Moreover, if you remember well in the previous part, this was all negative. Here it's all positive. This adds to the powerhouse of this faction. You're gonna get, so you are high elf, you're gonna get a lot of emollients. On top of that, you're gonna get public order bonus from that. You're gonna get increase in the economy from the 9% boost from all buildings. You're gonna get plus 10 diplomacy with all elves, plus growth, and plus for what is it, the leadership in the army, as if you still need more. And moreover, just because this faction can build this at tier 3, look at that. I can have 74 of this hero. No other faction can do that. As you can see, I'm sick about 20s, something like that, but 74 from this hero. I'm still not recruiting all the heroes. My economy is still great. And as you can see, I'm doing a bunch of income because of that. This entrepreneur, I know they nerfed it for lords, but hero still has the +3 rate faction wide, so you can have ton of that. And I'm placing them here. This will be how to make more money. I know Lothern will make a ton of cash, but I believe Exalt is the most or the richest province that you can make money off. At first, you're gonna get 2 ports, so building more of that will make even more money. And secondly, you're gonna get a gold mine. So it's 1200, it's not only 1000 from the Lothern whatever port. I believe Exalt will provide you with much more money than the other, any other, in fact, province. I tried this place. Even with this, I'm not making as much as Exalt, so this is a plus for this province. Now, if you know another province that will make more, you can leave a comment below. But I tried Exalt. I had a previous save. And I owned Lothern. I didn't make as much. I can tell you from what I see that Exalt will make the most money. So this is another thing that make this faction more powerful than the rest of them. And again, as I told you, you will be able to build this on tier 3, not tier 4 like the rest of the faction. So not only you will get much more of them, but you can start building your doom stack really early on in the campaign. As you can see, all of my armies have these guys, with the exception of this guy for sure, and Altharian, because, well, we got these guys, why not? Other than that, I'm having a bunch of sisters all over the place. They are super powerful, and yeah, my armies are snowballing all over the place, auto-resolving everything. This is by far the most powerful faction that you can play as High Elf, and it's the... I'm not gonna say the easiest, because it is not. Eataine is the easiest, but once you know how to play them mid-game and beyond, it is much easier than any other faction. Lastly, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. I hope that it met your expectation. I hope that it provided you with the information you needed about the economy, how to make more of it, the armies for this race, the extra DLCs, and whether you like them or not. If you feel that this video was helpful, feel free to leave a comment below. Feel free to add a like, dislike, subscribe. All of those things help and matter a lot, because we know whether we are going in the right track or not. This is me, Cypher. Again, thank you guys very much for sticking around, and peace out.
For as long as I